I'm not going to flicker the lights at you, but I think we're ready to start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're so excited to have you. So I want to give a quick little shout out. The City Recreation Program, Bob Furland, the Albert Lea Main Street Program, and the Albert Lea Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then also Riverland is instrumental in helping us put together the program this evening. So let's warm up our hands. A little round of applause. So we're going to kick off this evening with some music, and I believe it's the last two songs. There's been a request, and you have music, so we don't have a lot of excuses on why we can't help perform with them the last two songs. So we'll let them get us warmed up first with some music, and then we'll join. So let's give a big warm welcome to the gospel choir, United Methodist Choir of Albert Lea.
I you'll on one side of your sheet, you have Deep River, and that's coming next. So if you'll flip it over and find Deep River, please join us. Then if you flip the page over, this is Lift Every Voice and Sing, and it's kind of become the national anthem of the Black culture, so we'd like to have you join us with that if you know it, or it'll help you learn it. So how about that? Joining us. Happy to have you here. We want to say thank you to Eileen Nelson-Ness, who's been so kind. She's playing for Cinderella every other night of the week. And so she has tonight and tomorrow night as her 2 nights off, and we plug her in here again. So anyway, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Let's give it up again for the choir. So were you in 9th grade or you're going to be in 9th grade? Going into 9th. Okay, so one of our first presenters this evening is going into 9th grade here in Albert Lea High School. And I'm going to let Qual take it away.
Before he comes on, could we have an invitation? Oh, no, okay.
I apologize.
That's okay, grab the mic, grab the mic.
No, I don't think I need a mic, but I asked John, who is a former pastor of Albert Lea United Methodist Church. And this man started a prayer group at our church, and he asked me to be on it. And I realized all my life I've been looking up to God and praying. So that was the greatest thing that he could have done, to have invited me to participate. So I want you now to just welcome this man as he does an invocation for us. Of course, we knew the singers didn't need a prayer. But when I was going to come on, and then the high school people, we wanted a little prayer. So we need that. Thank you very much, John.
I think we all need it. It's me, oh Lord, and in the need of prayer. Anyway, thank you for inviting me to pray tonight, and I really do want to acknowledge that God has brought us together. I mean, I felt like I was feeling the love here tonight when I came. Love, God's love, and then they sang that song, bind us together with love. And gosh, that's what's binding us together, and also love of freedom and justice for all people. Celebrate that the huge milestone was happened on June 19th,
Yes.
1863,
63, really.
and here we are celebrating this today. It's so important, and important part of our history that we want to remember. So let's just pause for a moment of prayer. Lord, we do thank you so much for freedom. That's what we're celebrating today. And so many people working for justice and freedom around the world, and even now, every place, every country, our country. So Lord, let this be what we're about tonight, inspire us and move us all to be freedom champions wherever we are. We just thank you so much for people that organize this. We thank you for the other celebrations going on around the country that we see on the news. We pray for a blessing upon every gathering that celebrates Juneteenth. And we give thanks that our government has acknowledged the importance of this date. And we ask your blessing upon our gathering tonight, upon John as he gives us a message. We give thanks for the singers, we give thanks for the students, and ask you to guide and bless us through this evening. And we thank you for your presence and your love among us. Amen.
Amen.
Hello, my name is Paul DeWall, and I've come here today to give you guys a speech. Researcher J. David Hacker, writing in the journal Slavery and Abolition in 2020, concluded that nearly 4 million enslaved people were alive at the beginning of the Civil War. Today, we gather to celebrate the realized dreams of freedom that many African Americans had a dream for. And with this speech, I hope to give you all new insight as to the importance of dreams, not just to those who have suffered through the tragedies of slavery, but to our society as a whole. For my entire life, my mom has always taught me to dream big. No matter where my interests lie, my mother always wanted me to have big aspirations for the future, and so I did. Throughout my life, my dreams have always stayed important to me, and they have only become greater as time passed. They have become so important to me that I may even call my ambition a defining feature of myself. And this sentiment isn't only unique to me. It seems as we move forward from generation to generation, the idea of having great aspirations only becomes so much more important to us, with even some of us being shocked by the grandeur of the dreams of our younger generations. But why is this idea of great dreams so important to us? So much so that we should enforce this idea to every youth that we may happen upon. Before the freeing of slaves throughout the country, the lives of African Americans were full of many dangers and risks. In such times, hope becomes a very important part as to how we survive, and they keep us in a state of mind that is optimistic towards our future, which gives us motives for working harder. And in many ways, our dreams are very symbolic of the hopes that we have. Our dreams show our most positive outlooks on how our future may turn out, and those who are most hopeful tend to have some of the greatest dreams of all. Our hopes and dreams go hand in hand, and wherever one is found, the other could be too. Our next reason as to why dreaming is important is the motivation it gives us. As stated earlier, our dreams give us hope, and our hopes give us reason to keep working harder, and within the context of the slave trade, reasons to keep living. While being held as slaves, African Americans were forced to live in subhuman conditions as they weren't seen as people, but property and tools for labor. Without reason for living, we would simply surrender our lives to the struggles we are forced to endure and lose any chance we have of doing anything great with our lives. So whether it's for ourselves or others around us, it's important that we find motivation for ourselves so that our society may progress further and so we may grasp people. And one of the final and most important parts of dreaming is how we can only achieve greatness if we strive for it. Among those who have created the biggest impact in our societies, we see how their dreams of greatness have been consistent throughout their lives. With unwavering determination and with little falter, we see that when we dream greater, we can also realize our true potential and do great things. During the era of the slave trade, African Americans rebelled in many ways. Some would fight back in ways that can be considered more passive, such as working less efficiently, refusing to assimilate, keeping to their own traditions, taking their owners in fights, or running away in hopes of finding freedom. Whether we protest with passionate rage or subtle acts, our acts become physical manifestations of the hopes and dreams that we have. The culmination of our motivations and hopes pay off in powerful ways. Now reaching the final parts of the speech, I hope that after hearing this, you'll leave today with new insight on how our dreams are important to all of us and are able to encourage those with dreams of their own. And not only that, but find new inspiration to chase your dreams. One dream that I've always had is to explore the world and many of its wonders. Living my entire life in Minnesota, I've always wanted to go experience life in the many different parts of our world. And although I know my dreams may not come sooner than later, and so may yours, I urge you to work harder toward them, because even if you may never realize those dreams, you'll no doubt be better off for it.
All right, so our next speaker is a recent graduate of Albert Lea High School. How loud are we?
I might turn this down a little bit. It's a little teeny.
So let's give it up for Erica. She's our next presenter. There we go.
Hi, my name is Erica Sandin. Last year I had the opportunity to speak at this event, and I'm so happy to be back. Last year I wrote my own speech about Juneteenth, but this year I decided to do something a little different. I decided that I was going to read a poem by Maya Angelou. It's called Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like the hopes springing high, I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines, digging it in my own backyard. You may shoot me down with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up like a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, well and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a day breaks that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of a slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Sure. You can move it as close or as far away from you, just so you can sit comfortably.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay.
My favorite color is a rainbow.
All right. Okay, so let's do a little background first. Let's hear a little of your story. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Okay. I came from Texas. I was born in Texas.
Okay.
And I spent my younger life there. Excuse me. So that's where I came from, and that's where I got my start. I was able to have someone to teach me who happened to be my father. I then moved to Colorado. I spent the most part of my living time and most of my education was in the state of Colorado, specifically in the city of Denver. I was there 64 years of my life. And I can imagine that I got most of my education there other than my father's. Then I ended up here. I happened to meet a lady while I was in Denver, Colorado, teaching school. This lady came in to get her master's degree in social work. After she had accomplished that, they assigned her to my school where I was teaching. And God, you are so wonderful, is what I've been singing ever since. I met that lady and we finally got married. We're now celebrating our 55th year of marriage. And she brought me here only because I became ill. I had pulmonary hypertension. And all of you would know that Denver is a mile-high city. So the air is very light. I could not breathe. So she brought me here because I was unable to drive. I shipped my car here, and she drove her car, and I rode in that car. We came here and purchased a place. And when we purchased that particular place, we moved into it just for 2 weeks because we still had a home back in Colorado. So that is where I am today. And God is a wonderful God. This is a lady to my immediate right who has touched my heart and has taught me so much. I have never seen a little small lady like this, could have so much knowledge and is so kind and has taught me much in the short time I've known her, which is a little over a month. I have learned much. My father, and you'll hear that quite a bit tonight, taught me always to be a lifelong learner. And that has been part of my speech, part of my life, part of my everything. And I have learned much from this lady. So that's where I am today.
Well, thank you, John. So let's talk a little bit about your family's connection as to slavery, your history, family. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Sure, be happy to. There are 3 people who happen to be my ancestors. They were slaves. This was maternally. It was from my mother's side of the family. My mother died when I was 2 years of age. I didn't know my mother. I never knew her. But God has blessed me with a father, and he was the principal of a school. He served in this school for 49 years. And when he closed that school, they integrated the schools, because all of you, I know, would know that in Texas and many of the southern states, schools were separate. The superintendent and the board asked him when he was 80 years of age, 72 years of age. He said, "I'm tired. I want to retire." They said, "Please." They referred to him as Professor Smith. "Would you stay on for a couple of years? That's when we will integrate the school. With your experience, you could help the white people who are coming in to integrate in with the black people who were there." So he stayed on for 2 years, and God did bless him because he served and brought the people all together, white and black. And they integrated a smooth road down and it was a smooth integration of this particular school. This school now is being served as a center for all of the people, white and black together. They live in this school. It's a center for all of the meetings that is held in this particular town. So that was one part of my dad. Now, my paternal great-grandfather was a slave. He was sold when he was 12 years old, away from his mother. He left there in a southern town, Virginia. And then he was sold to another town. And another man bought him, purchased him, and then he stayed there. And eventually, he was taken into Texas. This great-grandfather of mine, when he was set free, he decided that he was going to do some things, and he reached deeply into his pocket where he had been hiding money. He had $500. He bought 1,000 acres of land. My grandfather and my great uncle were the 2 boys that he had. Then he had 4 girls. He sent them to school. They all became educators and teachers. They had children, and their children became teachers. My grandfather had my dad. So that's the man that I was talking about. He was a teacher, an educator, a principal of a school for 49 years. But after we lost my mother, and this is all given to me by my dad, learn all of the kinds of things that we must do. And always reach down to help someone, because a man never stands tall until he reaches down low and lifts someone up. Then he becomes a high-standing person. And this is the kind of thing that came on down. My dad then sent all of us 6 children to college. I was the youngest. And I finished college, bachelor's, master's, and I have 102 quarter hours towards a doctorate. I refer to this lady whom I married, came from this great town here, from a farm. And I oftentimes say, my wife came over here on a ship. That was her great-great-grandfather who was on that ship. And that started the family. I came over here on a ship, my ancestors, slaves. So we each have come over on 2 different ships, but we're in the same boat tonight. We're married. So this is the kind of thing that I have had to live with, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. I will be eternally, forever, always saying thanks to all of you who have come here to witness with me what I am so proud of, the things that I can recall. I did mention that we had 6 children in the family. Only 2 are living today. I'm 92 years of age. I have a sister that's 100, she'll be 101 in October. So we are the only 2 living today. And she's back in Texas. She refuses to leave. She loves that place. So that's the situation there with my family. I could go on, but I don't want to bore you too much with any lengthy discussion. But I think I have one of the best families, and I think most people think this about their family. But I'll tell you, my wife, I met her family of father and mother and grandfather. They're the greatest people in the world. Her grandfather took me in, and most of the relatives were worried about Grandpa being 85 years old when this white girl is going to marry this black man. 2 weeks after we were married, we came here. Elaine's mother, she's a Taurus, same as I. Wonderful woman. She said to her 2 children and the rest of the family, we are going to have an open house. You just been married 2 weeks, but I want to have open house for the whole community. It was snowing and 30 degrees below zero. I looked out the window and I said, oh good, nobody's going to come out here in this weather. What little did I know. Those Pastorias knew everybody and everybody loved them. Because quite often they told me when I spoke things about their Elaine and Roger's parents, you didn't lie, man. Whatever you say about those 2 people are true. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was the situation there with my family, with Elaine's family, and We had a great time. In fact, I'm going to just deviate a little bit and say they had two settings because they couldn't get all the people in with one setting. One was at 2 o'clock. They had all kind of food to eat. People came, filled up this place from 2 to 4. Then from 4 to 6, they cleaned up, and 6 o'clock, another group came. And they served those people. And boy, it was a crowd. Wonderful people. So really, that's the kind of thing that I'm just tonight so thankful for. And in continuing this life, I'm looking out here at the beautiful people who are sitting here. And that means so much to this man. I just wish my Elaine's parents and my parents could see this. Because my dad, it would not surprise him. It wouldn't surprise him because he would be expecting this. And Elaine's grandfather also. Thank you.
So let's shift and talk a little bit about Juneteenth. So what is the significance of Juneteenth to you, and what is the importance of sharing what Juneteenth means with our community or people as a whole?
Thank you. To me first, Juneteenth has a double meaning. It's a sad situation when one thinks about his ancestors, slaves, arms been all locked together, feet tied together, sitting in the bottom of a ship, the sadness. But there is also hope. The definition for hope is it sees what's invisible, feels the intangible, and accomplishes the individual, and accomplishes everything. So we bring those two things together, sadness, and we can't leave out love, faith, and finally hope. And we bring that together, it mingles, and it makes this a great situation. In fact, some people say, oh, you talk about being happy. But I think there is a word that's above happiness. It's called joy. Joy is one step above happiness. Happiness, you can kind of feel good for a short time, but joy radiates throughout your whole body and your soul. This is what you mean to me tonight as I look out over this crowd of people. It is such an invigorating situation for me. And I could say forever, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to you, dear lady, Miss Babcock, God bless you. God bless you, because we could not have had this without you, what you have done. You got all these people here. That's why they're here.
I think some of you know John. I think they may have known you too.
So this is really what Juneteenth is to me and my family, and also the celebration. And it's a happy time in my life. I just wish that my sister, 100-year-old sister, could be here with me, because she would share with you, and I just must find it. This 100-year-old sister, if she was here, she could quote these words. Some things that my dad would always say. I will read it to you. My dad taught all 6 of us this stanza. I am glad to meet a person who is proud that he is white. Every person must have some color. Any color's all right. I am glad to meet a person who is glad to be black and conscious of his color and appreciates that fact. I am glad to meet a person who strictly understands that character makes the person, the color does not make the man. That's what our dad told all of us, and that was the last one.
I said, what else you got? Do you have any
Yes.
kind of final sentiments that we want to make sure that we're sharing with people, sharing with the community?
Yes, I do. I want first to just say to you, and you know this yourself, your governor decided to proclaim Juneteenth a national holiday in February of this year. And so it is spread all over. And every time I think of that, I'm reminded of the things that the mayor in this particular town said. May I share it with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The mayoral proclamation for Juneteenth. Whereas our country is made up of people from every nation on earth who are declared equal, and whereas on January the 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, providing that all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state shall be thenceforth and forward forever free. Whereas Juneteenth commemorates June the 19th, 1865, the day that the Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced that a quarter of a million people, or slaves in this state, were free, even though President Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years prior to that. Whereas Governor Tim Walz on Friday, February 3rd, 2023, signed into law a bill establishing June 19th as a holiday in Minnesota. It is an opportunity for all of us to reflect on the fact that there is a promise that was made to us that we are all created equal. Whereas communities across the country will join hands to acknowledge the impact of slavery and will recommit to creating a more equal and just society. Now, therefore, I, Rich Murray, Mayor of the City of Albert Lea, do hereby declare the 19th day of January, 19th day of June, 2023, as Juneteenth Independence Day for all of us. Thank you.
Well, John, we have 8 minutes.
Wow. Time does go fast.
It does.
When you're having fun. And I tell you, all of you have brought so much to me. You don't have to say a word. Just sit where you are and let me feast my eyes upon the beauty of all of you. It means so much to me. And for those 2 high school people, oh, I would be amiss if I would. How could I go ahead Let's start with the person who spoke last, Erica. Straight A student. I'm glad I read the paper. Because she told me she was an A student, but boy, I tell you, when I looked there and noticed right down the line, A, in everything, I also was able to meet the board president of Albert Lea High School. I inquired who told me about the teachers. He introduced Jeremy as one of his great teachers there. Erica said he is too. And I met that man, and he went all over the place, meeting people. And last but not least, this young man who came up and was the first speaker. My God, he touched my heart just to look at him standing there, ninth grader, a ninth grade student, standing there with his own dream speech, talking about how does his dream interact with Juneteenth. Thank you so very much. That was so beautiful. You laid it out for us all as we sat there and listened. Oh, I told you I was a teacher and all this, but I couldn't do all that in ninth grade. No. This man was something, this young man is something, and I'm just thinking, oh, I hope I could live long enough to see him reach utopia, because that's where you're headed, son. I know that, and thank you so very much for being part of this Juneteenth with all the rest of us, you and Erica. I don't know if we said Erica graduated. She's now enrolled in a university in Wisconsin. And so consequently, she's going on to utopia very soon. She's no longer a high school student, but I'm sure the college can handle her, and she will handle the college. So both of you, thank you very much.
Well, I don't have anyone else to thank except for John. So thank you so very much for sharing your story and sharing time and space with us tonight, John. And thank you all for coming. I appreciate it greatly. We'll be having another Juneteenth celebration next year, so we hope to see you then. Have a good evening, everyone.
Just before you leave, I do have one book. And this beautiful lady, I have one book with me. I have more books back at the apartment. And I wrote this book, From Tragedy to Triumph. And I'm going to say to you, and you probably have figured this out already, I'm a spiritual being on a human journey. That's the kind of person I am. I'm not afraid of tomorrow, because I've seen yesterday, and I love today. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Umojo ni nugavu. In English, in unity there is strength. So we can continue to work together as people. Life will reach utopia. Thank you very much. I will say, and I'm sure you brilliant people, if you need a book, I do have these books. My telephone number, my wife always told me don't give out the telephone number to crowd. But she can't hear perhaps what I'm going to say. But anyway.
I can see her, she can hear you.
473-2039. I repeat, 473.
How about this? Me and Conrad will work on getting these books at the office. So if you need a book, you can stop on up to the office and grab one. You don't have to call them at home.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because this one belongs to this lady.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Good
Thank
night,
you very
everyone.
much. Be safe.